I know, you're tired of hearing about the pandemic, you're tired of hearing about COVID-19, so I'm going to try to keep this video as short and as light as possible, but I still wanted to do it because we're still in 2020, the pandemic is still a thing, and in the spirit of most of my videos, I want to be able to share information for persons who are looking to visit Barbados or even move here. So with that being said, I'm just going to jump right in. So the government response, I find, has been pretty good as it relates to sharing information and messaging regarding the pandemic. So in March, we had the first lockdown, and I think that was the only lockdown. I think they had maybe two stints of lockdown. I can't even remember because literally the year has felt like a blur. Since March, the government has issued a couple of guidelines and protocols as it relates to how they expect the public to do their part in managing the pandemic. The government officials have also been really good with making sure that they're always on the media, on social media, communicating with the public. There is a COVID czar, the Prime Minister herself was always making sure to issue weekly, if not even more than once a week, statements to the public to assure a sense of calm and transparency as it relates to how the government is dealing with the pandemic. And I appreciated that because when you go from absolutely hearing nothing about the pandemic except that it was something happening in Wuhan to all of a sudden there's now 50 cases in Barbados, that can be a little alarming, especially for me as a single woman living by myself in a country that's not where I'm from. And so I have to say that the government has done a really good job at being transparent, being clear, being consistent with messaging. The cases here on a global perspective are really extremely low. I think as of today, and today is November 7th, 2020, there's been 242 cases, I think, and 7 deaths, which even though 7 deaths sounds low, I know that in any situation, death is not an ideal outcome, it's not a desired outcome, and that's not something you can be proud of, that people are dying from this pandemic. But in terms of the global perspective, Barbados has done a pretty decent job of managing the spread and ensuring that people get the treatment that they need as it relates to the pandemic. As it relates to everyday life, after the lockdowns that happened in, I think, April and May, again, a blur, a lot of places were able to reopen in a normal way. Like for instance, restaurants, supermarkets, banks, salons, spas, barbershops. Places have been relatively open for business. So if you go, you can still practice the social distancing. They do the temperature check. They have the sanitization points. They do the contact tracing where you have to write down your name and your number, where you're staying on the island, things like that. So in terms of the public, I find a lot of business are doing their part to ensure that if there's the instance of community spread, persons can be aware of that and get tested if they need to do it. So in terms of the public sector, they've also been doing a really good job at keeping persons safe and being responsible as it relates to the way that they conduct business. My biggest gripe, I think, is with the public in general. While a lot of people wear masks, a lot of people are sanitizing, the thing that people aren't doing is social distancing. And I think in a lot of ways I can understand, because it's very hard to social distance when you're in the supermarket or when you're in a public place like a restaurant, because the places are so small and it's very hard to stay 6 feet apart in every single instance. But I think my biggest frustration is when you go to a supermarket or a restaurant or someplace and there's somebody who is deliberately not wearing a mask. I have to say that at the very beginning of the pandemic, you saw it a lot more frequently because obviously humans don't like change, humans don't like new things. It takes them a while to get adjusted, which is fine. But I think it's also important that we remember we're in a different world now. It's a new circumstance, and we have to be agile, and we have to be resilient, and we have to be all of these things in order to be able to manage and control the pandemic and the spread and all of these things, and also just for our own personal safety. So I find in Barbados, while people still do the mask and the sanitization, the social distancing is a bit hard. Like for instance, the other day I went to the bank. I was waiting in line, and the line was literally back to back to back. Even though there were markers on the floor, people were still really close to each other. Like there was a lady complaining behind me the entire time, saying that the sun is too hot, literally for about 20 minutes. And the security guard did nothing. No one from the bank was trying to enforce the social distancing in the lines. And for me, like, it's just, I have to pick my battles. I just have to worry about what I'm doing to make sure that I'm taking precautions as it relates to my safety and the safety of others. So that's my thing. You could never be too careful, because you might know what you're doing, but you don't know what the person you come in contact with has been doing, or where they've been, or who they have interacted with. And so I think for me, the biggest frustration is that people don't take it as seriously as they need to take it, and you could see that. I was buying food from a rotisserie place the other day, and this lady was standing in line with no mask, and I was waiting to see, because I was standing behind her, I was waiting to see if they would serve her, and they did. Even though they had a big sign plastered saying, please, you are required to wear your mask. Please wear your mask if you want service. And they served her anyway. And so, yeah, a lot of places are still very relaxed when it comes to the social distancing, even when it comes to the masks sometimes. But for the most part, most places are very vigilant as it relates to making sure people do the temperature test, people do the sanitization, and people are wearing their masks. I just try to do the best for me, which usually means I'm going to do what is regulated or responsible. So yeah, without making this video too much longer, that's it from me. It's not been as bad as in a lot of other places, and I'm really thankful for that. You know, there are a lot of places where, especially small places, where the numbers are just skyrocketing, like in other Caribbean countries. So I'm very grateful to be in a country where the numbers are really low, the regulations are adhered to for the most part, and yeah, that's the update on Barbados from my perspective. If you're living in Barbados, let me know if you think the government response has been good to you. If you are living in another part of the world, let me know what your pandemic situation has been like. But I hope that wherever you are, that you're keeping safe and you're keeping sound mentally. And so yeah, that's it from me, and I'll see you in my next one.